So after months of speculation and frustration for not only me, but many other fans of the Stealth, it finally came to the UK. And now, after using it for a few months, I can give you my thoughts on how she handles. So you saw the unboxing, and so you'll obviously know how much I'd wanted one of these, and hopefully if you paid attention you'll know why. I wanted a thin and light machine that could do video editing on the go, as well as other tasks I need to get done throughout the day, but could also do gaming or heavier editing tasks when I'm at work or at home, with the help of the Razer Core, of course, which I do plan on getting as soon as they're available in the UK. They do like tagging us along over on this side of the pond. So, short explanation out of the way, let's move on to the actual machine itself. Razer have been stepping up their game year on year with their entire range of laptops, and the Stealth is no exception. Housed in a black anodized aluminum casing, it straight away gives you the premium MacBook-esque feel, which is something I really like, and one of the reasons I wanted to buy it. Build quality is a must for me, especially if I'm going to be taking it away with me. I've got the latest Kaby Lake version, which has the Core i7-7500U with 16 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig PCIe SSD, altogether making this a very quick machine. Weighing in at only 1.29 kilograms, this tiny machine has something to offer. The internal graphics are nothing special, utilising the Intel HD 620 graphics. It is capable of light gaming with settings turned down for things like Dota 2 and League of Legends, but don't expect to be playing Crysis anytime soon. Razer really put some thought into their port choice, with a Type-C Thunderbolt 3 connector on the left used for charging as well as output to the core, a USB 3 and a headphone microphone combo jack. On the other side there was a USB 3 port and a HDMI 2.0 output. Personally, I would have preferred an SD card reader here, as the option of screen output can still be done via the Type-C connector. And moving forward, once more monitors start utilising that Type-C connector, it'll be a much cleaner and overall better experience. I am pleased to say it passes the one-finger test, which again is a testament to the build quality. This brings us straight onto the screen. The unit itself is 12.5 inches and comes in two flavours. I opted for the 1440p 70% RGB colour range version, as I wanted to prolong battery life over the option for 4K screen and 100% RGB range. While it would have been nice, I just honestly prefer a longer battery life out of the two. And it's not to say that the 1440p version isn't beautiful, because it does look fantastic and is made even more desirable by the multi-point touchscreen, something I've never had on any of my machines before. Above the screen is a decent 2-megapixel webcam that's perfectly adequate for most on-the-go users and is paired with a decent built-in microphone. The built-in speakers are nothing to write home about, but they are more than loud enough and do the job extremely well for someone like myself who isn't technically an audiophile. So, let's get this thing together. The trackpad took a little getting used to. A lot of other reviews rave quite a lot about it, but I wasn't overly impressed. Maybe that's because I'd come from MacBook Pro, which has a fantastic touchpad. It just felt a little bit squishy. However, I do appreciate the lack of a right and a left button, as I think the One touchpad is a much cleaner look, but I do think Razer have got a little bit of homework to do on that for the future. That obviously then leads us onto the keyboard, and it's almost definitely become a signature of Razer's now to have an RGB keyboard dubbed Chroma. This opens up a plethora of options for lighting schemes, which can be set in the Razer Synapse software that comes built in with the machine. That being said, I found the ripple effect was a little distracting when trying to type and instead ended up going for just a basic backlight. It's nice to know that I can change the colour whenever I want though. I'm utterly disappointed at the fact that the function keys don't light up, and this has been mentioned in almost every other review I've seen. Razer definitely gets points knocked off for that. The keyboard did take me by surprise a little, as the keys have a very short travel distance, so you don't feel at first like you're getting a full keystroke. But after a little time, you eventually get used to it, and this is probably to be expected from a device so small and thin. Moving on to actual usage, I've been making the most of it now for quite a few months, and I'm really enjoying the experience. As you might have guessed, I can't edit native 4K footage on it, but that's not an issue for me, as I've been working with proxies now for quite a while, and it's become part of my standard workflow. All of the internal components combined make it a very smooth experience, and exports are relatively quick for an Ultrabook as well. Moving on to some numbers, I ran a few benchmarks to give you an idea of the overall performance. Crystal Diskmark gave solid results, coming in with sequential reads of 1710 megabytes and reads of 569 respectively. I followed that up with similar tests using Atto Disk Benchmark, which gave similar results. CPU testing was done using Cinebench, which yielded expected results for the dual-core i7 in these machines. I also ran a Premiere export of a 3.5-minute video of a wedding fair I filmed with some stock film filters and minimal text in it to give you an idea of export performance. Unfortunately, this was coming in at around 3 hours in Media Encoder, although I think that's because it was all 4K footage. And like I say, usually I would only edit the video using proxies on the machine and do the final export on my desktop PC. I did find that exporting 1080 to 1080 was significantly faster. As discussed throughout this review, I do think there is room for improvements. The HDMI port, I understand why it's there, but personally would like it swapped out for an SD card reader. The trackpad needs a little bit of work before it's really premium feeling, and despite the fact I went for the 2K model to save on battery life, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more battery. At the moment, I'm getting somewhere near 3 hours. So my final thoughts, I'm really happy with the size of the unit, and portability was at the top of my list, followed closely by performance, and I'm pretty happy with that as well, given the size of it. It most certainly beats out my old MacBook, and going on all the bad press that Apple have been getting on their new MacBook Pros, I'm confident I made the right choice for me. Guys, if you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and share the videos as much as you can, and we'll see you in the next one.